Drill him up.
Do I get capped there?
I know you love it. Yeah.
Get this, Hey, Turner, keep floating.
Dark is at 50, come on, baby.
No, he has no trinket. TH has no trinket.
I have blind after, no, I have blind and then we cap.
Come on, he's DR. He's DR.
Wait, with 4 seconds. Actually, Kidney here, Kidney, start capping.
Copy.
Yo, Monk, kill me.
Kidney.
I am. Let's go.
Kidney.
Truth's right
We
now.
win. Yes.
Let's go!
What a game.
Let's go, Dark, baby! Hey!
Yeah. This is awesome.
Let's go! Where you at, Dark? Huh?
Go. No!
Saw now looking to get the cap, but it looks like Kumu has
Take the flag in the flag. I think Saw might be able to just go cap. Kuma's gonna go down.
come here. I'm gonna kill you and take that flag as Drew returns the flag. Zarashi with the huge Death Knight plays.
Sales representative for the Flesh.
I may or may not be sponsored by Fleshlight.
Hello and welcome everyone to episode 21 of the Battleground Breakdown podcast, the show where we break down rated battlegrounds and discuss hot topics from around the community. I'm your host, BG Wizard, and today joining me is Drew Dynamite. Drew, how's it going?
Hello.
What's new with you, man?
It's going good. Maggie's gonna be joining us today.
Okay, hi Maggie.
So if you see me looking down at my crotch and smiling, you know why.
Okay.
All right, just she can't be left alone. She's still young.
Are you sure it's not that Fleshlight ad we just played?
No, I'm sure.
Okay.
You love that ad, don't you?
Hey man. All right. So yeah,
I never tried one, but if they want to sponsor me,
okay, you heard it here first. Drew's first
Mm.
sponsor. So okay, Drew. So how has your Shadowlands been so far? Or
Shadowlands.
Dragonflight. How has your Dragonflight been? So it's season 1. You know, we talked early season 1. It's been like 3.5 months. What's been going on with your Dragonflight, and how has it been for you now?
Honestly, with all the I've enjoyed it more than any season of Shadowlands, like from a pure gameplay perspective, because of how much more player agency we have this expansion compared to Shadowlands. Like, you hit if you want to do RBGs, you hit max level, you do some randoms to get some honor and gear, and then you just do RBGs. There's no Torghast, there's no any of that other crap. So, and it's very old friendly. So I've been very much enjoying myself.
Yeah. Okay. That's good. Yeah. My Dragonflight's okay. It's weird because at the start of the season, I felt like I was able to push, and I was like a lot of people were playing, and then I took 2.5 months off, and I mean now it just feels like, first of all, my class is really weak, Shadow Priest.
Yeah.
So I don't know, like when we did damage at the start, I was able to lead a group successfully, and now I lead a group and I'm like the weak link, and plus like it's a networking game, so like, you know, a lot of my teammates that we had playing every night back at the start of the season, now whether they're not playing or they're on other teams, like whatever. So it's been a little interesting having to deal with the class thing for me, and then also like not being able to find enough players to kind of play on my main with anyways. So I completely re-rolled. And it's been pretty fun just doing like 0 to like 1900 games basically.
You re-roll to mage?
Yeah, I'm mage rogue right now, and I just boosted a warlock as well.
But
So,
mage is your main?
I guess yeah. I'd say I'm the best at mage right now, in terms of my abilities. Obviously Shadow Priest, but it's not playable. So, But
It's
yeah,
that bad, huh?
I just feel like, dude, you know me, like when I lead groups,
Mm.
like I'm like calling the target and stuff, and like when I'm on Shadow Priest, like I feel like I'm barely even hitting the guy. Like it's like
Mm.
my buttons do like 10k damage or 15k damage or 20k, like max. And other
Mm.
people are, I log on Mage and Glacial spiking for like 170k or whatever it is. Or
Mm.
you look at, Ret Paladins, like that type of thing. It's not, the damage isn't there. So
Yeah.
maybe it's a mix of the damage isn't there with my play style, and then when my play style, like, and I can't kind of be that aggressor guy, and
Mm.
it just it becomes very difficult because you become a weak link and you're trying to lead a group. So I don't know, but no, Mage, I'm definitely second best on Mage, and then Rogue probably. But I really want to get this Warlock leveled, or this Warlock is leveled. I want to get him good, but it seems like a little bit more to learn than it was with Mage. So,
Mm.
anyways, um, let's talk about the length of seasons, and do you think like the season's been, has it dragged on for you, or like what do you think of the length of the season?
Well, that's it's kind of unfair for me to say because it works in my favor for seasons to be longer because as a content creator, I want to bust out more relevant content within those seasons. Like right now I have over 70 games of Unholy DK and RBGs that I'm putting together a compilation for that I'm going to include in my Unholy Death Knight review video. And I also want to get Evoker and Ret Paladin done hopefully before 10.1. So for me personally, it's like take all the time you want. Is that what's best for the game? Probably not. I don't know. It's hard. It's really hard for me to say.
Okay.
And also, or maybe it is beneficial to keep it longer because of the because a lot of people are having trouble hitting Gladiator in 3v3 this season because of lack of participation.
Yeah.
So maybe they are going to need longer.
But that wouldn't that be worse just to get like lower and lower player? I personally like I really want to see like 3 month long seasons or like 2 month long seasons. It's just people come back for the new part of the season. It keeps it active.
Mm.
When it's like bam, expansion releases season one, it's like obviously going to be the most popular, but patches are similar, and it's like I guess we're getting more patches, so we're supposed to be happy, but it still feels like forever to like try and push. Like you may as well just play at the start and at the end. Um,
Mm.
in a sense, at least in terms of like the in-game rewards. Like content creation is different, but even still, content creation, there's always more eyeballs during a new patch or a new wave.
Mm-hmm.
So like if I make a tier list like now as opposed to maybe like 10.1, I bet the 10.1 ones will be way more popular,
Mm.
um, just because it's like a new season. But no, I guess it's better, right? It's better than Shadowlands
Mm-hmm.
BFA, I think.
I
Um,
think I think like the mini patches like the .05 the 0.7 whatever you want to call them. I think they serve I guess outdoor PvE content better than PvP because
yeah,
all PvP gets is like rebalancing. Most of the time all it gets is rebalancing and stuff.
yeah.
What but like outdoor content like the Forbidden Reach, like it's a new zone that players get to go to, like the PvE stuff. I think the PvE players get more out of those mini patches than PvP players do.
Okay, yeah,
I think.
yeah. I would have to agree with you. I think PvE is, and like I said, it's like it's better, right? It's all signs point towards it's better than what it was.
Mhm.
But yeah, it's still, I don't know. I for whatever reason I feel like it drags out for a long period of time. Um,
And my biased old me is like, no, take your time, but that's not necessarily what's best for the game.
I think it just gets deader and deader as it goes on
Mm.
until the end, and then at the end, a bunch of people come back to try and get their titles and stuff. But that they did change Hero of the Horde and Hero of the Alliance, so that's good news.
For next season, right?
Is it next season that it hits?
I think it's next season. It's not this season. But,
Okay,
like this season, it's going to be no different than if you got. I mean, anyone feel free to correct me if I'm wrong, but from what I believe I read was this season it's just regular old Horde, so Hero of the Horde. So if you got it in a previous season, you're not really going to get anything new in terms of titles or anything. But next season you are going to get something new if you hit 2.4 again in if you hit Hero again in RBGs.
Okay, so let's just break it down a little bit. Basically, the change was that instead of having to be on Horde or Alliance, now Hero of the Horde and Hero of the Alliance, which is the top award you can get, it's top 0.5% of players get it at the end of a season. So instead of being faction based, it's combined. So it's just the top 0.5% of players instead of top 5% on Horde or top 5% on Alliance. It is now top 0.5% in both factions, and it's just the same. So that's the change.
I don't think I like that because that encourages people to move over to the less popular faction, I would hope. You know what I mean? Like, oh, it's harder to get Hero of the Horde, so let me swap to Alliance and hopefully get Hero of the Alliance.
But
So
that's
like
what
hope
they changed it. That's why they changed it, right? Or are you saying they'll go there now because they can have the racials?
well, I'm saying that like I think I don't like that change because prior, like if it's like because correct me if I'm wrong, like is this how it works? Like the top 100 Horde players and the top 100 Alliance players get those titles, or
No. Right
like separate
now,
titles?
it's not. Right now, it's the top 0.5. It's close. It's probably close to 100, but it's the top 0.5% of Horde players get Hero of the Horde, and the top 0.5% of Alliance players get Hero of the Alliance. And then the change is now that it doesn't matter your faction. So
Oh.
so let's just say
Hmm.
let's say top 0.5% was 100 players on each. Now it would just be the top 200. But also the bigger change in this which I haven't talked about yet is that with the battle.net account, now those alts, so if somebody gets a Hero of the Horde but they have an alt, it doesn't actually give their alt the hero title, it would just give the next person on the ladder the title. So that's going to eliminate a lot of spots that are taken
Right.
up by people. So bringing it back to what we were just talking about, so let's say 100 people get Hero of the Horde and 100 people get Hero of the Alliance, it will then be just the top 200, no matter what. And then, but then also the alts factor out, so it'd probably be like the top 275 get it. So that's kind of where the change was. What do you think of that?
Okay, well, getting rid of the alts, factoring out the alts in that lining, I think that's that is a good idea. A lot of people have been asking for that for a long time because you have like not just for RBGs, but for like the other brackets.
Oh yeah, Arena
That's
was everything
yeah.
I saw from the Arena players. They were super happy about it.
Like one person has 5 characters there, and those 5 characters get the slots while you know the like you already know what I mean. Like,
Yeah, no, it's been a pretty positive feedback for that. But we do have a question from chat. Bruns96 says, "What's the new title name?" And unfortunately, I think it's still just Hero. Yeah,
for season
but
2, I think it's Obsidian Hero.
wait, what? Really?
I think that's what I read.
Really? I didn't read anything about a new title. If there's a new title, that's a YouTube video in itself right there. Is there really a new title?
That's what I remember reading on the Blue Post.
Oh my goodness. Wow. Okay. Well, if there's a new title, then this is this is big news for the Rated Battleground community. We've got what we've asked for. If there's a new title, we've got what we asked for. That is absolutely massive news.
That's what I was talking about, like, way earlier. I thought that's what you meant in the beginning.
Oh,
Oh,
okay.
okay.
No, maybe an Obsidian hero title. Maybe that's gonna happen in the game, guys. That could be absolutely amazing. Okay, well, they did tease some other Battleground content, Drew. The WoW Community Council has a thread that basically said what we've been saying, you know, that there's just, hey, where's the new Battleground map? It's been X amount of years. And of course, we did get I think it was a community manager responded. There was a blue post saying that they love Battlegrounds too and that they are working on it, but they have nothing to announce right now. So, what do you think that could mean? You know, new map or new game modes, 6v6. What do you think? What do you think they're working on?
It could mean any of those things. I hope it's not a 6v6 because I don't want that to happen. Because I don't want the same thing that 3v3 players suffer from solo shuffle. You know, like now that ever since solo shuffle was put in the game, like I don't think solo shuffle was a bad idea. It's just I wish there was more.
Well,
I guess incentive.
Let's unpack that. This is a good question. Was solo shuffle a good idea? Because remember, for like, you could see and feel the LFG like dying, right? It became, people were like desperate for arena queues and desperate for RPG queues for a long time, and that's kind of why they ended up making solo shuffle, or at least that's why the community was pushing it so hard for a while with the solo queue movement. So after it's been out for a while now, our first season of it, was it even a good idea? Because, dude, from where I'm sitting, 40-minute queues, 40-minute queues, 40
I haven't
minutes,
touched it.
40 minutes. And also, the 2v2 and the 3v3 bracket is now super dead because of it.
Yeah.
So, like, I mean, I see these on Bellular's videos. I see them talking about, like, Mythic Plus people think they want a solo shuffle now, and like a solo queue for that. And I'm just thinking, like, what if this game actually goes to solo queue? Like, is this not bad? Like, it's bad queue times, and like it takes away from everything else.
It's hard to measure the give and take from it to see if it's worth it, and sometimes we won't even know until we see it. And that's what I'm worried about with adding 6v6. Like, is it going to kill RBGs if they do that? And
Right.
that's something I don't want to happen, because you know, 10v10 is the only like right now the largest groupable, if that's a word, organizable game mode in PvP that I can play.
Yeah.
And I would, me and many other people would be upset if that was taken away or replaced with 6v6.
Yeah, and I agree. It's funny. I've stood on that hill. You know, I was ready to die on that hill as well. And then I don't know if you remember the episode. I was like, we need 6v6 solo queue now.
I remember.
Then now I'm like back to like, oh wait, it's probably actually not good. So I started out by saying don't kill 10v10 for 6v6. Then I switched and went 6v6 all in. And now I'm back to somehow listen, I wouldn't actually be opposed to 6v6, but it would have to be groups. I do not want a solo shuffle experience for my Rated Battlegrounds. I like being able to form a group and play with a group of people.
Right.
And I don't want to see them go down the solo queue road with that.
Right.
So, yeah.
It's the same problem with LFR. Like, a lot of people don't like hearing this, and I get a lot of hate on Twitter when I even mention this, that LFR did more harm than good. But I think that it reduced participation in normal raids and up, and that it was a mistake. And even Ghostcrawler, who implemented it, who was one of the developers for LFR, in an interview, he said he regretted it. He regrets putting
Wow.
LFR in the game.
And like I gotta think then they should almost make random battlegrounds and epic battlegrounds and the comp stomp thing, like the brawls. What if they just took that bracket out? That could be the solo queue. And then they had groups queue as well. Do you know what I mean? Because then you take a whole chunk of players and you put them back into the rated scene, even though they'd be like low rated, lot of
That's
them. At least you'd have a bigger player base in the rated scene.
I'm having trouble like I was able to articulate it better when I thought of that same thing a while ago. But I don't think it's a good idea to remove randoms because I think comparing like the random BGQs with queuable LFR are like two separate beasts, and I'm probably not articulating this well, but I think okay, here's what it is. Rating has dungeons. The queuable dungeons, that is getting your feet wet in the pool for rating, in my opinion. For rated battlegrounds, all you have is random battlegrounds to get your feet wet.
I guess, yeah. I'm just saying if they were to do like a 6v6 or a 10v10 solo queue, I would want the solo queue to take that group of players and put them into the solo queue. That way we still have like I would hate to see them do like a new form of BGs.
I would be apprehensive
and not have like some sort of boost to the player base or something, because I don't want the group queue to end up like 2s and 3s right now after this
with solo shuffle.
Right. And then if solo shuffle had a 40-minute queue time for your RBG all of a sudden, like that's why I think bringing those entry-level players into the scene, even just letting them be 1,300 players, and that it is what it is until they get gear. Sorry, that's an alarm.
It's okay.
Yeah. I don't know. So yeah, solo shuffle, questionable. Some people love it, but I mean, I guess it's only really good if you're a healer.
This is probably this could be either a good idea or a dumb idea. What if solo shuffle, they took out 3v3 solo shuffle and replaced it with 5v5 solo shuffle?
Yeah.
That might be a stupid idea. I don't know, but I don't know. It's just because at least it's different from 3v3.
It'd be longer wait times because you only have 3 DPS to 2 healers.
Unless you did 4 DPS, 1 healer. Well, I don't know. That would also be maybe that's also a stupid idea if it was one healer and 4 DPS. I don't know.
Yeah, it's just something we have to keep in mind as all these other areas of the game ask for solo queue, like M+ is the M+ community is right now. It's like you think you want it, but you don't. That's remember that?
I remember that. I mean,
it's
okay.
I think it's one of those situations.
That is true in some cases. It was not true for Classic WoW, but
no. But I'm talking solo shuffle, like where people think they want it in the game, like I did. Remember, I wanted it for 6v6. But now that I've seen it, I'm like, wait a second. No, you actually don't want it.
It's not the first time. Like, and again, like I get that all the time with LFR. Like back when LFR was introduced, I was like, this lets casual players, see the story content. This was a good change. And then years later, I'm like, no, wait, that was not a good idea. That did more harm than good. They should not have done that.
Yeah.
But and also what I get a lot of hate for, cross faction.
Yeah,
we're not gonna. I'm not gonna go down that rabbit hole. But
speaking of rabbit holes, let's talk about the Ret Paladin rabbit hole that just popped up. It seems like the Ret Paladins have been, let's just say they've been gods in the game for, I don't know, about a week. They just came out with a hot fix, which they did on that night, I think. That night, it was like 2 nights ago. They were supposed to do it on Tuesday, but they did it on like Friday instead just to get it out faster. So it's like good because it's like, hey, we're everybody I've seen talk about
Mhm.
like the Rets was like super excited about the rework and like they did a good job. But then it just ended up being so much more powerful, and like every RBG team, there was like it was literally like 8 Rets in a Battleground, and if you didn't
Oh,
have 3 or 4
jeez.
Rets, you lost the game, and I was in the game for like a week. So it was like a week of, or maybe it wasn't even a week, maybe it was 5 days, or I don't even know how long, but literally they took thousands and thousands of, if not tens of thousands of CR away from people. And I'm
Oh,
just wondering what do you think of the Red situation and how
well,
broken they were?
I think I dodged a bullet with that because I did not queue for rated BGs for the past like 2 or 3 weeks on my main. I think I did some on my Devastation Invoker. I did some with you on my alt
Yeah.
DK, but on my main, no, he hasn't touched RBGs for the past few weeks because I was busy editing and stuff. But yeah, I think I dodged a bullet with that, and I think it comes down to like, well, the silver lining is that they saw it was a problem and fixed it before 10.1 at least.
Yeah, but
Uh, That's the silver lining. But like
I
how it got to that point, I don't work there. I don't know what the process is with testing these things and how they go live.
that's what I was wondering is like, because like as a player that was invested in my rating at the time, like I'm just gonna be honest here. I lost 100 points the nights I was queuing, at least 100 points,
Mm,
something like that. And it's
you should
just
have rolled
like,
red.
well, it's just like how 4 Rets, like I get it. There's always gonna be a meta,
Right.
but it was like not even comparable what these guys like. They were doing 30 plus million damage in a BG, and I'm sitting here on Shadow Priest doing 7 million or 9 million. Like you can make fun of me all you want and say, yeah, you suck. You should do more damage. Whatever. No, every single Ret topped the meters. It was just a matter of which Ret did, and then there would be a second Ret, a third Ret, fourth Ret, fifth Ret, sixth Ret, seventh Ret, and then all the other classes. Like it was you can say I'm bad, whatever, but it was dominated by Ret Paladins. They ruled the bracket. And like so someone that experienced it and experienced playing against it and lost rating because of it, it's just kind of like, man, how does this make it to the live game? And they obviously knew it was busted because they fixed it. So it's like, again, the fix is good, but like,
But how did it make it to live?
yeah, how did it make it to the live game? Like it's cool that they're fixing it, I guess, but like again, just a little couple question marks there. They were insane though. So Red Pallies, I mean, they still seem pretty good. So they got nerfed. They did get nerfed, but they still
I
seem,
think they're still good.
yeah, they
I
still
think.
seem pretty solid. I did a solo shuffle and the Ret run won all 6 rounds, so I think they're still decent.
Mm.
um, so like let's talk bouncing it back to rated battlegrounds then. It seems like, at least maybe this is just a personal experience thing, but it seems like MMR and CR stopped at a certain point. Because I was pushing like 23 over 2300 at the start of the season, and then I come back and it just feels so much harder to climb unless you're like top and connected with the top players in some way.
Right.
So like do you think the bracket needs more inflation, because it feels like the 2300 teams disappeared, or like the 22 and 21 teams kind of disappeared, and now it's
Yeah.
just like it's all low games and like some 2K teams.
Mhm.
And that's really all I see, and I've been playing every day. So what do you think about that? Do you think they should just raise inflation so it feels like people can actually progress, or
The uh the will duh answer, or the easier said than done answer, is the game needs more players. But
yeah,
aside from that, maybe the inflation does need to be brought up. I guess to make the best out of out of a bad situation, because like you're piloting a ship, you're steering a ship. There's rough waters in either direction. You just got to pick one direction and steer the ship as best you can.
yeah,
Like,
yeah, fair enough. That's it. Kind of one of my other solutions would have been the quicker seasons too, because people come back when there's a new season or a new patch, and I just feel like it feels dead a little bit. So the one way to get that back up is to release the next patch or release the next season. But again, we already touched on that. So yeah, I don't know. Inflation was the only other thing I could think of, Drew. Like just making it
that
so
might be the answer. Or that might be like the best answer, the best plausible answer.
Yeah, and what do we mean by inflation? So basically, if you're playing at 1800 now, within a week or two, that 1800 becomes a 1900, and then it becomes a 2K. So everybody, you're 1600. Nope, next week you're 17, then you're 18, and it kind of just has like this hidden boost to people's MMR. And so at least then the players feel like they're progressing rather than being stuck at 1800 or 1900 or 2K or whatever rating you're at. Doesn't matter.
It's
but-
like the one smart kid in class got the highest mark and he got a 68, so everyone gets a curve.
Yeah, something like that. Yeah.
Yeah.
And next
something
week
like
it
that.
becomes a 78. You know what I mean? Yeah, something like that. Okay. Anything else, Drew? Anything else you were thinking of or wanted to discuss?
Well, there was a fun. Do you watch Nixium?
Yep.
Well, there was a. I'm actually gonna do a reaction to this video and upload it to my YouTube later. But I wanted to play this game with you. I don't know if we have time for it now. If you want to save it for like a next podcast when we have a third person. It's called Fun or Not Fun, where we go through each battleground and we say like fun or not fun, and then explain why.
Yeah, I'm down to do that. Let's do that.
Right now or next time?
Next time.
Okay.
We can make it its own like segment, its own show.
Yeah.
Okay, sweet. So like maps, because we can talk about this off air. We can talk about this.
Yeah.
Next episode, we're gonna have some fun stuff for you guys, or maybe not fun. Wink, wink. And yeah. Anything else before we sign off?
Well, thank you for reacting to my RBG guide video.
Yeah. It was. You know what? That was probably the best intro RBG video I have seen, and I've seen some. I've done some attempts myself. I've seen some others. That was probably the best one. So if you are looking to get into rated battlegrounds, if you are looking to get into rated battlegrounds, check out Drew's YouTube. It will be linked in the description below. And yeah, that's it. Yeah, that was a good video, Drew. No problem.
Thank you.
Okay.
I should get an Oscar for that.
You should. That was a good performance. All right, everybody. Signing off. Drew Dynamite, BG Wizard. Catch you guys on the next episode. See you later. Thanks for watching.
Thank you. Take care.